Hey, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about thermal energy and transporting heat. Um, there's essentially three ways that energy can be transferred: conduction, convection, and radiation. So these are going to be the three main ways that we are going to discuss here in class. The first of these being conduction. This is basically by things that are touching. This is like when you touch the handle of a pot on the stove. Um, Heat, you are conducting heat, and this is why your hand gets burnt, is because you're touching it. The next to that is convection. Convection is by the transfer of heat through fluids. And example of this would be like when you have a fire. All right, if you have a fire, here's your fire, and you have the heat that's rising. Well, this is convection, right? Heat's going to rise. It's going through. As it cools, it's going to circle, and it's going to come back down. So this would be if it was getting hot, it'd be going up, and then over here it'd be when it's cooling down. It'd be when it's coming. It's going to be going down as well. So I say it's cooling down, heating up. Uh, Radiation. Radiation. This right here is basically through the electromagnetic spectrum. And there's all types of radiation that we can transfer energy with. Okay, conduction again. Conduction is the thermal conduction, the transfer of energy as heat through a material by touching. And that's really what we need to know about conduction. Touching, whether it's you touching a piece of metal, whether it's electric stoves heat by conduction because the metal part that heats up is touching the bottom of the pan. But conduction, again, I'm going to say it here again, this is by touch. All right, they have to be touching. The next one is convection. Convection results from the movement of warm fluids. Convection current, any movement of matter that results from the difference in density, may be vertical, circular, or cyclical. Well, we talked about this fire. All right, let me draw my fire again. We've got this fire going here, and there's all this current, this heat that's going up. And then what happens is once it gets hot enough, it starts to fall and come back down. Well, this deals with density. As things heat up, we learned from our hot air balloons they become less dense. All right, so this right here is less dense. As they start to cool down, they become more dense. And this is why things heat through convection. Your house is an example of something that heats with convection. If you have gas forced air, the gas forced air comes out, and so you might have register over here, and the hot air is coming out, and it's going to go up, or whether it's coming through the floor, it's going to go up. And as it comes over here, it starts to become more dense. And typically, what's going to happen then is as it cools down, it's going to come down. And you see a lot of times in the register on the floors, you'll have what's called cold air return. And then this right here returns the air back to where the furnace is. It comes in the furnace. Again, the flame heats it up, sends it through some pipes, and it comes back into the house. And this right here is called convection because we have this flow of air. This right here is pretty much showing the same thing. This right here is convection over here off the side. We've got the warm air that's going up, the cool air that's coming back down. Over here we're showing conduction. If you were to stick a rod in here, conduction is the transfer because the particles collide with each other. Notice over here on the right, the particles are really vibrating. They have 3 little dashes. Here they only have 2 dashes. Over here they're hardly colliding at all, hardly vibrating at all because they haven't had many collisions. All right. As these particles heat up, they move faster. They have collisions with these particles. As there's more collisions, these particles start to heat up, and this will be a slow transfer of the heat all the way through this metal rod. Radiation. Radiation, the energy that is transferred is electromagnetic waves, such as visible light and infrared light. Again, they don't require physical contact. They do not involve the movement of matter. It's the only way that energy can be transferred through a vacuum, and much of the energy we receive is from the sun. So, having said that, um, also it can be ultraviolet. I don't mention it here, but we could have ultraviolet light. If we're getting energy from the sun, quite a bit of that is through ultraviolet light. So these right here, whether it's infrared, visible light, or ultraviolet light, all of these are examples of radiation. All right, on here, we've got 4 questions for you I want you to answer. Take a minute or two and answer that. And as you